What VR needs more than anything right now is a good Oculus Quest 2 competitor to give people a non-Facebook option for affordable VR gaming. Beyond that, I just want a high-end wireless VR system from a company like Valve, but all of that requires chips, but the chip shortage right now is predicted to be worse than the Egyptian plagues. We had our 7 years of plenty, now it's time for 7 years of cold, hard silicon famine. As it stands right now, there are at least 2 major headsets that I have been looking for as an upgrade to my Oculus Quest 2. And while there are several headsets that were announced in October, what I really want is a good wireless solution. Because shocker, it isn't my kink to get tied up in cables while playing VR. And I know people say you barely feel it if you get your cables hooked up above you and all of that, but I'm not new to this. I've been playing VR for a while. I used to work at a VR arcade that did exactly that. But you know how else you can avoid feeling cables? Yeah, that's right, just going wireless. And that's why I've mainly been sticking to my Oculus Quest 2 until something better comes out. The 2 headsets I want to see released soon are the DecaGear or the Valve Deckard. The Valve Deckard has been talked about extensively on Sadly It's Bradley's channel, where he revealed through firmware leaks and patents that Valve is developing a wireless headset that has an XR2 chip that uses split rendering to make high-quality wireless VR possible. On the other hand, the DecaGear was first announced a year ago as a $450 headset with high-resolution, face tracking, hip tracking, and index-like controllers. More recently, we've seen leaks suggesting the headset could come with a console-like box that it connects to wirelessly to play any game on Steam. Both of these headsets are what VR needs for high-end wireless gaming, but both companies just announced that they're having delays related to the chip shortage. It's not all bad news though, because at least DecaGear has given us a new date for when we can expect to see the new headset release. Now before we get into all that, if you still use the Oculus Quest 2, you need to check out VRCover's new fitness facial interface. I have used and recommended VRCover for new facial interfaces since the Quest 2 launched, because their PU leather interfaces are second to none in comfort. Well, their new fitness interface just launched, and you might want to get it even if you don't use VR for fitness. Not only is it easy to clean like all of their other interfaces, but it now has a more flexible interface with more vents for airflow, a larger nose guard to block more light, and an even thinner replacement pad that increases the Quest 2's field of view to the max. I'm not joking, I immediately noticed the increased field of view with the thinner pad, so much so that I could see the edge of the screens with the middle IPD setting. This means that I was getting the max amount of possible field of view out of my headset. And if you too want to get the most out of your Quest 2, check out the fitness interface at the link in the description. And don't wait, because right now they're having a massive Black Friday sale on several of their products that you won't want to miss. Now going back to the chip shortage, DecaGear just made a huge announcement regarding the future of the company, and let me just say it looks pretty grim. In essence, they explained that the semiconductor shortage is currently affecting smaller companies like them more than anyone else. This is because the semiconductor companies want big orders that small companies like DecaGear just can't make. Beyond that, if they were to sell the headset as is, the price would be around $700 US, way more than the original $450 and more than double the Quest 2, which is a problem for their target market of Quest 2 users. Beyond that, even if they did sell the headset at $700, they wouldn't make any real profit because all of their profits would come from headset sales and not software sales, since anyone using their headset will presumably be using Steam to buy their games. Oculus, on the other hand, has become a thriving business because they make tons of money back on game sales on the Oculus Quest store. Since DecaGear itself doesn't have their own game store, they need to sell the headset at a profit. All of that said, they made it clear that they're not stopping, but they're just changing direction a little bit, and they hinted at a solution to this problem by creating some sort of open ecosystem. I don't know, maybe their own game store? I'm not really sure, but more info on that solution will be shared sometime this week. But for now, they announced the following timeline. In Q2 of 2022, the Blogger Edition will go to bloggers. In Q4, or the end of 2022, a limited edition of DecaGear is produced and shipped by them, presumably to their backers that already ordered the headset. And then, also in that Q4 of 2022, DecaGear is going to be sold and shipped by other device makers. This is part of the new solution that they'll be sharing soon, which I'm really curious to know what that means by other device makers. We'll have to see what that means. And then Q2 of 2023, the DecaBrick OS is released. I'm wondering if that's referring to the console-like box that we saw in that leak before, but I'm not really sure. But that's going to be in the middle of 2023, and then also in the middle of 2023 in Q3, the DecaBrick will be sold and shipped by other device makers. So whatever they're doing, it'll be a while before we actually see their headset shipped, but it sounds like they have an interesting solution to the problems by getting other device makers involved in shipping their headset. We'll just have to wait and see what they have in store, but I'm really excited. Now, the DecaGear isn't the only company experiencing issues. Even Valve, the Goliath in the gaming industry, is having issues with supply chain. Valve just announced that the launch of the Steam Deck, the handheld Switch-like gaming PC console, will be delayed by 2 months. They will now start shipping the Steam Deck in February. They didn't indicate why, but it's not hard to guess that it has something to do with the chip shortage. And beyond that, if they're having issues launching the Steam Deck, they're going to have even more issues with any other projects down the pipeline, such as the Valve Deckard VR headset, which means their own internal timeline for releasing the Valve Deckard has most definitely been pushed back, assuming they even had a timeline for that. Valve is a mysterious company. They're not exactly known for being quick to market. In fact, Tyler McVicker, the authority on Valve-related news, has predicted that a new headset from Valve won't come for several years, and he might be right about that. Beyond the Deckard and the DecaGear, wow, those two have really similar names, makes you wonder if their new plan is to ship headsets with other device makers. Could it be possible that DecaGear is just going to use Valve to ship their headset, and that this Deckard is actually the DecaGear this entire time? Anyways, the only other headsets that might be releasing to compete with the Quest 2 as far as wireless standalone headsets are concerned are the Lynx R1 and these mysterious Arapara headsets that have been very active on social media. But I think it's safe to say that even these options are going to be heavily impacted by the chip shortage, and I'll be surprised if they're able to release products and meet demand anytime soon. Lynx specifically is looking at releasing early next year if I'm not mistaken, but again, we'll just have to wait and see if they can actually meet demand. For a while, it seemed like the chip shortage wasn't affecting VR because you could always get an Oculus Quest 2, but as the shortage goes on, it's just going to get worse for smaller companies that aren't Meta. Now it's time for a quick bit of VR news that you might have missed this week. You may have noticed every single VR YouTuber last week posting videos about this boost to the Oculus Quest 2 known as Application Spaceworp. In essence, SpaceWarp is a system that's used by Virtual Desktop and Airlink to improve performance for PC VR. It works by having the system render half as many frames as normal, and then allowing the program to predict the missing frames. This essentially lets you get a stable 90 frames per second while only rendering 45 frames a second. That's a massive performance boost, but it came with some downsides. Specifically, it made the image look warped or even caused text and textures to shake. Well, Application Spacewarp is specifically for Quest games, and it has to be implemented by developers. It won't work with just every game out of the box unless the developer implements it. And because it's being implemented by the developers, it is much more effective at predicting frames and essentially works way better. This means less warping and other issues than the Airlink version has. Meta predicts that it can improve performance by up to 70%, and I'm guessing that it's only thanks to this that the massive power-hungry game like Medal of Honor is releasing on Quest today. Oh yeah, and don't forget, Medal of Honor releases for Quest today. I might try streaming it later, I'm not really sure. The PC version put a bad taste in my mouth, but maybe the Quest version is better. We'll just have to try it out and see. Now, if you want to see something funny today, check out the IcelandVerse. Yeah, you heard me right, the IcelandVerse. This is Iceland's tourism department's parody of the Metaverse presentation by Meta last month. It is absolutely hilarious and actually makes me want to go visit Iceland. If you want to check it out, it's linked down in the description. And lastly, if you want a really expensive version of the Quest 2, you can get the Vive Focus 3 that just added some major updates. The $1,300 headset will now have a max play space of 33 by 30 meters, and for us stupid Americans, that's 108 feet by 98 feet. That's absolutely massive. The headset will also include a new feature called map sharing that will allow you to share a saved play space to other headsets, allowing all headsets to be tracked in the same location. If you've ever tried Space Pirate Arena on your Quest 2, you know that this kind of feature would be a massive lifesaver when setting up the game. Beyond all that, they're adding support for Wi-Fi 6E, a new 6 GHz Wi-Fi band that will allow you to have even better wireless connections for wireless VR. Honestly, if nothing new comes out soon, I think I might just get the Vive Focus when the new 6 GHz feature releases, because that sounds amazing. And that's it, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, but goodbye.